Welcome back to Cozy's Ghost Show. Today I'm going to read you a story called The Haunting of the Camper. That's right, we're in a camper right now. And I had some weird stuff been happening lately, so I figured we'd do a story about the haunting of a camper. Alright, here we go. The camper was old, rusted with faded paint that barely clung to its metal frame. But it was all that Mitch had. That's right, a guy named Mitch. After a rough breakup and a few failed ventures, Mitch decided to give up city life and hit the damn road. He wasn't expecting much. Just the solitude, the open highway, and a place to sleep to lay his head down on the pillow at night. It was a quiet existence, or at least it was. Until the night he parked that god-forsaken spot at a remote campsite near the abandoned stretch of the forest. Anyways, he never thought to ask about the history of the place. Why would he? You know? It's just a campsite. Right? Wrong. So the days went by. Mitch started to notice some things. Tiny little things. A little bit. Little tiny things. The air always seemed thicker here, as if it was held a secret. The stars above, unusually bright, cast strange shadows over the forest's edge. He would hear whispers, faint and eerie when the wind died down. They were too soft to make out most of the time, but they felt wrong to him. Then came that night. It had been a long day of driving for Mitch. He was already half snoozing in his creaky camper. The dull hum of the refrigerator was the only sound that anyone could hear. But then it started. The tappings began. Tippity-tappity, 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 tip. Soft at first, like raindrops hitting the roof. Tap, tap, tap. Tap, 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 tap. He glanced out the window. Nothing but dark trees were out there. It was late past midnight this night, but he didn't think much of it. Tippity tap, 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 tap. He rolled over and tried to fall back asleep. But, sure as shit, the tapping grew louder and more obnoxious, faster. Tap, 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 tap. Tap, 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 tap. Until it sounded like a frantic scratching across the metal outside his window. At this point, Mitch's heart began to race. For sure, he sat up, reaching for the light. But things even got worse. The moment he went to reach his hand, touch the light, the power went out, and everything was complete darkness. The camper was completely black. A cold chill now ran down his spine as he tried to calm himself down. It's just the wind, he said. He muttered, but deep down, he knew for damn sure that it wasn't. The temperature dropped rapidly, as now his breath fogged in the air. Every time he breathed, he could see his own breath. He turned to his left, and that's when he saw it. A pale face pressed against the window, looking right at him. Staring into the abyss. You know what I mean? Eyes that were wide and hollow, locked onto his, sending a jolt of pure fear through his veins. He literally shit his pants, if we're being honest at this point. The tapping was now replaced by a slow dragging sound across the camper. Like something heavy was moving against the floor. He scrambled to the door, but it wouldn't open. It was locked. He couldn't get out. Panic now set in. A voice whispered from the shadows. A voice that sounded familiar but strange, like an old memory forgotten. Mitch, I'm gonna get you. He spun around, but no one was there. The temperature plunged even further to almost negative 13 degrees. The darkness pressing in on him. He could barely see shit. He could feel the presence of shadow just beyond his reach, watching, waiting. His heart thudded in his chest. Suddenly, out of nowhere, the door to the camper swung on open on its own. Mitch, his breath hitched. He wasn't sure he should run at this point or if he should face whatever was coming into the camper. And then, out of the darkness stepped a woman. That's right. She was dressed in an old-fashioned, faded dress. Her long hair cascading down in waves. Her face was pale, almost translucent, but her eyes, those eyes, were filled with something he hadn't seen in years. Warmth, tenderness, and life. 3 things. Warmth, tenderness, and life. I can help you, she said. Her voice was very soft and sweet, almost melodic. But you're gonna have to trust me, Mitchie. Mitchie boy. Mitch didn't know what the fuck to think at this point. Excuse my language, but he didn't have much choice. He was kind of trapped, surrounded by a malevolent force that was closing in on him. He nodded, the words stuck in his throat. The woman reached for him. Her touch was as cold as ice, but oddly comforting. Without another word, she led him out of the camper. The haunting presence had not gone, but with each step he took beside her, it seemed to recede. The shadow lessened. The whispers faded away. Mitch's panic subsided. He wasn't sure how she was doing it, but she was somehow pushing the dark away. Yo, what's up, C? CC in the building. That's right, I said it. As I reached the edge of the forest, Mitch turned to thank her, but she was gone. In her place was a thin mist swirling in the air. Who are you? He called into the night. Who the are you? But the mist did not answer. It simply faded, leaving only silence of the forest. Days went by. Now at this point, Mitch left the campsite. Mitch now had left the campsite. He didn't look back. He moved on. He moved on down the road, but he could never forget the woman who had saved him. Part of him believed she had been more than a ghost. That's right. She had been something else, something from another time, a spirit maybe, or perhaps the love he never knew that he needed. In the months that followed, Mitch would often wake in the night, a soft whisper on the wind calling his name. And in those moments, he would feel her presence beside him. He wasn't sure if it was real or if it was just a memory of that night, but it didn't matter. She had saved him, and for reasons Mitch couldn't fully explain, he felt like he had saved her too. The end. Fucking Mitch and the camper, bro. That's the story. Hit the like button, subscribe. If you want more of that shit, then comment down below. See you guys on the next one. Peace.